Welcome to the mrViewer version 5.7.3 work in progress feature presentation. mrViewer is a review tool for flipbook sequences, videos, and audios. Cross-platform support on Linux, Windows 32 and 64 bits, and Mac OS, Intel 64 bits, Mojave Catalina Big Sur. User interface in English and Spanish. First version released on 2014. Here we see the open file requester, which allows you to open files and sequences as they are compressed into a single line. The playback of mrViewer works both forwards and backwards for both images and sequences, for both movies and sequences. Albeit movies are dependent on the codec used. The timeline of mrViewer allows you to see a thumbnail picture of the current frame, the frame that you're aiming at. This allows you to select the frame before with knowing what you're going to get. The different parts of the interface in mrViewer can be hidden so that the view starts showing all full view of the image or video. mrViewer supports opencolorio and CTL color management. On-screen display of the pixel color information, either original values or opencolorio CTL pipeline values. Color area information, average of multiple pixels, gain and gamma support, customizable keyboard shortcuts, customizable use themes and colors. Here we see, for example, a zooming on the different pixel to see its color. The zooming works also on movie files, even while they're playing. Going back to the pixels, the image file that we have, it's an EXR file, which can be shown with its original values, the values that are stored in the EXR file, or with the full color values of the open pipeline value, of the opencolorio values. You can also show HSV, HSL information, XYZ, etc. information, luma, luminance, and brightness. And the RGB can be shown as 8-bit or hexadecimal values. A movie with an EXR file that has multiple channels can be displayed here with the multiple channels of the EXR. We can switch channels to, for example, the normal values of the EXR, or we can switch to the point values of the EXR, for example. And they are loaded automatically. If seen linear, the input color space of the image can be switched to some other values for the data file, for example, raw data, and the display of the opencolorio can be shown as raw data so that we get the raw information of the pixel values. Finally, we have the color area information, which allows you to draw an area and get the color average of the pixels in that area, even while the movie is playing. All right, here we don't get color the playback in real time. We can also use the grease pencil to draw into the image. Select the eraser tool or the circle tool or the arrow tool to draw some information, and the text tool to draw some text. There's metadata support for Blackmagic RAW and Red 3D formats, open image support, TIFF, PNG, JPEG, RAW, SMT, color calibration, and gradient charts. Here we have a VRAW file which has some audio support too, but we muted it here for the demo. The media info shows that it's playing at 1/4 of the resolution. We can switch it to 1/8 of the resolution so that it plays faster and uses less memory. Or we could switch it to one half of the resolution too, so that it uses much more memory. But we won't do that because we don't have enough memory in this computer. Here is all the metadata supported by the VRAW format. And we'll switch to another image here in the rear to the R3D, the red 3D image, which is playing also at 1/8 of the size, or 1/16 of the size, sorry. And we'll switch it to 1/8 of the size so that it looks a little bit better, because 1/16 was just too rough. After it caches all the frames, the movie file will play real time. Here we see that the memory of this sequence is close to 3 megs. Reels have multiple support for multiple movies or sequences and have basic ideal support. Movie, .mov, .mp4, .avi, .mkv, etc. playback supported. Support for searching in the metadata. Here we'll see some of that. We'll switch to a reel with multiple images. And select the EDL support. When that is selected, the timeline changes and allows us to play back one sequence after the other, or one movie after the other. After one movie finishes, the other one starts playing. In the media info, we can switch and select different keywords which are searched in case-insensitive manner, and they are searched in both the attributes as well as in the values windows by default. Here, for example, we're searching on frames, and frame is matched here on the value as well as in the attributes section. But we can search as only value or attribute. There's scrubbing with audio. There's foreground compositing on background sequences and movies. Here we're going to composite an alpha channel image with the bunny before the background image. We support AV wipes, AV layouts, and stereo 3D layouts on VR 360 spheres and cubes. The wiping of the background and foreground image is selected as AV. The B image is scaled down or up to match the foreground image. That's why it appears stretched in this case. We can select the right, left, right image, top, bottom, bottom, top. Left, right, right, left. We'll leave it at bottom, top. And the foreground and background image are shown in the title bar and where they're comped. The VR 360 view allows us to show the video clip as a VR 360 sphere, which in this case will allow us to move around and pan around the VR 360 sphere. As versioning of clips increment and decrement with gaps in between the reels, versioning works with a keyword like _v and can be present multiple times in the path name like bunny version 001, bunny version 001, percent sign 04DXR, bunny version 003, bunny version 003, or percent sign 04DEXR. Here we'll load the bunny version 001 movie EXR file. And the version 3 file that we have is a blur version of the version 001 because I didn't have time to create a new version of the file. But here it is. Version 003 file is a blur version of the version 1 file. We can go back to the version 1 and it skips over version 2, which doesn't exist on disk. mrViewer uses a CMake build system with some Ruby scripts. As a dependencies, too many, we'll cut down on them soon. FLTK, clib, readraw, libpng, libtiff, libjpeg turbo, x264, ppx, ffmpeg, divav, openexr, openimage.io, ImageMagick, opencolorio, CTL, Blackmagic Raw SDK, Red 3D SDK, over 250 lines of badly written C++, hosted at SourceForge with a mirror at GitHub, HTTPS, mrViewer SourceForge IO, HTTPS, github.com, GGRRA13 mrViewer, binaries at SourceForge,